Good evening, everyone, and welcome to MarketWatch live business talk show. And tonight, it's such a pleasure, and we're having another Rotarian and a businessman, and also our servant to the community, and Curtis, and coming to our show. And welcome to the show, Curtis.
Thank you for having me.
And Curtis has a background of business and background of financial advisor and background of Rotarian, and he has a lot to share with us tonight. To start with, would you like to share a little bit about your background and how you start your business?
So I have actually an interesting journey. I was trained formally as a software engineer.
Oh, interesting.
So I graduated from MIT as a software engineer, actually a computer engineer, and came out to Silicon Valley to live the Silicon Valley dream. So I worked for a couple of software companies. I worked on network drivers and security software, actually. And in the late 90s, I decided to make a career change. And I was always interested in personal finance. I was kind of the go-to person in high school and in college.
Is that because you're always good at math?
Well, math helps. But I was just very interested in investing in personal finance. So I just got a lot of questions from friends and family. I started investing when I was 16, opened up my own first stock account.
Wow.
And I just decided to make a career switch in the late 90s. And that brings me, to today. But I started really in just investments. And then I branched out into personal financial planning, which is the kind of looking at the overall health of someone's situation. And the way I got there was I was, again, in Silicon Valley for technology. And I personally had some stock options that were worth something. And I wanted some advice on how to diversify that and when to sell, what is the tax consequence of it. And I looked for somebody to help me. And no one could help me. Or I couldn't find a person to help me. I'm sure there are people out there that could help.
Right.
And so I did it myself. I did all the analysis myself. It took me about 3 or 4 months because I'm an amateur at that point. And, I basically advised myself at that point.
You educated yourself.
I educated myself and did all the tax projections and made some decisions based on what my findings were. And about 3 or 4 months after that, I thought to myself, what's the chance I'm the only one that needs this? I could offer this as a service to other people.
That's exactly how entrepreneurship was born. Like you found a problem,
right?
And then you're looking for a solution. And then for some reason you didn't find it, and then you became the creator.
That's right. So that brings me to the personal financial planning field, which is again a lot more than just investing, but advising on a lot of different areas.
Back to 90s, that could be a really huge move in your life and in your family.
That's right.
Then, like you said, you went to school and you went to MIT and for engineer. And then you came to Silicon Valley, which is like the core area for engineering and in the world. And then you, for some reason, you became a financial advisor. So what happened like after you made that move? And then did you find challenges during the journey?
Just like any business, when you're starting out, you're not making a lot of money.
Of course not.
So, I started and I treated every decision I made as a business decision. And I think the first thing is that I had a passion for financial planning and investment. So if you don't have that passion, it's going to be a lot harder because starting a business, even sustaining a business, is very hard. It's challenging. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what things are going to be thrown in your way. And so if you're not passionate about what you do or a product that you're building, that you're trying to offer, it's going to be very difficult. But if you have that passion, that kind of drives you to keep going, because sometimes you need that drive to keep going.
Okay, so can I understand your first advice to our audience tonight is passion?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's the passion. Like
That's
you
right.
need to have the passion and the drive, and to continue your journey in whatever business that you're
That's right.
doing.
That's right. And I was passionate about engineering, software engineering too. And in fact, I miss it a lot. But maybe the passion on the financial planning side was a little stronger.
So while you were struggling at the beginning of your business, and did you face a lot of how do you say that, like obstacles or negative comments from families and friends, and they're trying just protecting you by holding you back?
Mostly my wife. Because her well-being was at stake too, but she was very supportive.
That's
and
great.
So that's also important. You have to have a partner that's supportive. And we also had some reserves, right, to live on. So that brought us through some of those lean years. I would say I have seen some businesses struggle because they don't treat their business like a business. They treat it as a job. But when you have a business, you're starting up, and you're going to have to spend some money to get it started. Right.
Your business.
Whether it's equipment or office space or something. And you need to account for that and not just try to bring in the revenue to cover that. You need to cover that in the early years in order to sustain yourself until you have market traction.
That's your second advice, right?
I guess so.
Yeah. So how has your business been since COVID hit?
Well, interestingly enough, we do a lot of consultation with families, individuals, and couples. And you can actually do that over a video conference. So prior to COVID hitting, we had actually done some video conferences with some clients that moved out of the area, because we have some clients in foreign countries now and out of state. And that's how we did all of our meetings. But I always felt like I needed to start a relationship one-on-one in person,
right?
Because it's more personal, and we're doing such a personalized service. I always felt that in a way, it's a mental block on my part that I thought you needed to do that. Well, during COVID, we actually did have some clients sign on with us that and to date, we've never met in person. We did it all over. Well, we used to use Skype and Google Meet. Now we're on Zoom because that's the thing to do.
Yeah. So actually, your business has been growing and pivot online.
In some ways, yes, because we're not geographically bound now. Because if somebody's going to come to our office to meet, it's number one, the traffic around here is horrible. Well, pre-pandemic, it was horrible.
Right.
So that barrier was just removed. And we even had some new clients from out of state that they heard from some of our existing clients, hey, you may want to meet with this advisor.
So basically, most of your clients are coming from word of mouth.
Yes, most of them, yes.
Okay. Do you have any advice to the small business? You're the financial advisor, and I'm curious myself. What are the advice to the small business owners while they're starting out, or they have been hit really hard during pandemic financially? So what are the advice that you're offering to them?
Well, if they were already in business before the pandemic, there are SBA loans out there that are forgivable. So we actually helped a few of our business clients apply for those loans and get full forgiveness. So it's basically free money from the government to help sustain small businesses. And there's several others that are still available now.
What are the qualifications for the SBA? Because this is interesting. I just joined the I don't know if you know, today is like a women's equality day.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, today is women's, and the SBA actually hosted an online event and to celebrate
Yes.
this day. So I was on that event this morning. So interesting. So would you like to share more about the requirements or the qualifications, and to get the approval of the SBA grant?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to quote it specifically, but in general, you have to be in business before the pandemic, and you have to demonstrate that your business is down. So those are the key things. And the application process can be, it's a government form, so it's not the easiest. But any competent CPA could help, or a financial planner could help. The banks even have some people that can help you fill out the forms. But essentially, you have to be in business before the pandemic. It's not for people starting businesses during the pandemic. It's a lot of restaurant owners have been taking advantage of those.
Yeah, that's good. And also, you mentioned that there are many other resources that business owners can look into it.
Yes.
And the reaching out.
Yes. So the Chamber of Commerce's are good resources. There's a lot of small business associations locally that are helpful. So that's, I guess, another piece of advice is that as a small business owner, you just have to be resourceful. Just got to keep looking. And I always say, owning a business, it's like you need a machete in the jungle. I mean, it's a jungle out there, and there's going to be no one advocating for you but yourself.
Exactly.
So you really have to
be active.
Be active and educate yourself about a lot of things. I wish that weren't the case, because I wish I could do financial planning 24 hours a day, but I have to do business things too.
Right.
Just
marketing and
that's right. Or even
operation.
New leases, or buying computer equipment. I'm a little more adept at computer equipment because of my background. But there's all sorts of other things that need to be done besides your craft that you need to budget some time for.
Exactly. That's why entrepreneurship is actually ranked as the top one personal development journey as well.
If you start a business, you don't need an MBA, because you've got all the practical experience and knowledge that from a very practical day-to-day standpoint.
Exactly, day-to-day challenge.
Right.
So what are the mistakes that you have been seeing people making during pandemic? I believe that
from a business standpoint, or
from business standpoint or financial standpoint. Like business owner, I mean, financial and business are connected, right?
Yes. Well, thankfully, our business owners, they're struggling, but they're taking the right steps. I mean, I like to think it's because they have our guidance.
Right.
So I'm a very positive person. But I don't really see our clients really making too many mistakes. They had to deal with a lot. For example, we have a hairstylist that you just can't have the same number of people come through. Yes, and she had to shut down for many, many months. So she just had to sustain her business through that. Luckily, she had enough reserves.
That's good.
To make it through. But I can't really think of any major mistakes that our clients have made.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. And because of your guidance.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's good. And so now most people are adapting to the new normal, right? It's like a video conference all day long, and then getting more clients and doing more communications online.
That's right.
Have you been doing any online reaching out, like online marketing for your business?
Yeah, we don't do a lot of marketing. We've thankfully been able to build the practice through organic word of mouth. So that's, I mean, a tribute to the type of client that we have. They want to see us do well too, so they refer people to us. And I've always thought that if you treat your customers and clients well, that the word will get out.
That's very true.
And sometimes you give a little nudge, and sometimes a client will say, I really appreciate you doing X, Y, Z for me. And I would kind of in a little joking way say, don't keep me a secret.
Right. Get the word out.
Yeah. But we don't, we have the regular website. A lot of successful financial advisors actually don't do a lot of marketing. It's all what they do for clients, and then clients tell people how they've been treated.
Why is that? It's
a very personal thing. And, if you think about, if you want to find a financial advisor, you don't do a web search really. You usually try to find somebody that's had a good experience and
trustworthy.
That's right. The personal connection, kind of an indirect connection, is more important, I think. So, especially for something like that. Same as, sometimes we act as almost like a therapist, because people are telling us, their anxieties, because money is very emotional.
Exactly.
And so sometimes they say, we're really worried about being able to pay for X, Y, Z, or can I retire on time? So you really need to be a good listener as a financial advisor too. And so same as, if you're going to an actual therapist, you're not going to just look up somebody online. You want to have a personal introduction, I think. So we're very much like that. There's a more strong connection if you know somebody who has someone that they like as a financial advisor.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's very interesting. So how do you nurture your relationship with existing clients?
We treat every client like they're the only client we have. And they have to feel that.
What are the strategies? Let's talk about the details.
Well, if I'm having a bad day, they can't know about it. Right? Because not that they don't care, but they really, their situation has nothing to do with how many other meetings I've had. Right? So I really have to psych myself up sometimes and just have the meeting and focus on that one client. So they really need to have that feeling. That's what I tell our staff. Every client, that's our only client that particular time, that particular interaction. And we do things for clients that our staff is told, anything you could do to make the client's life easier, do it. Whether it's drafting a letter for them, negotiating a car lease for them, all sorts of things. We do it for the clients.
So always over deliver the value and knowledge.
That's right.
And paying full attention.
Yes.
To the client.
And really caring.
Right. I mean, that's very, very important. Yeah, that's very important. I think client can tell. Tell how much you care.
That's right.
And then that's actually how they start trusting you.
Right.
At that point.
Right.
They see how much you care, and they know how much they can trust you.
That's right. And they have to feel it.
Exactly.
Right? And then I would say another thing is that I don't really shy away from conflict, even with clients. I always feel like the client relationship is a personal relationship, and when you're getting to know somebody on a personal level, not just business. If you're dating someone or in business partnership with someone or getting into a friendship with someone, you're going to have arguments because you don't agree on every single thing. Two people cannot agree on every single thing.
No.
So that's how the relationship deepens, right? Not that I'm looking for a conflict with a client, but if we have a conflict, address it and we may agree to disagree on something, or maybe there was something misinterpreted that I was trying to communicate, then I need to do better on how to communicate that. And so that conflict is not necessarily a negative thing. It might be a positive thing to get to a better understanding. So I've never shied away from trying to address conflict. Again, I'm not looking for it.
Of course not.
But it happens in any relationship.
And you don't avoid from that.
That's right.
You try to face it.
That's right.
And
it's not pleasant sometimes.
Of course not. It's never going to be pleasant, but it could be a great opportunity to build a deeper relationship.
That's exactly right.
If you really see the good.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So what are the because your niche is very unique. Like you said, it's more like a word of mouth doing business and marketing.
Yes.
And then did you see any of your clients and doing some amazing marketing strategies during pandemic in order to pivot their business online or thrive the business in the new normal?
Well, we don't have a lot of business clients,
Okay.
But our business, the few that we do have, they were in survival mode. So they were just trying to get through, and I don't know if we're really through it yet, actually. So they were doing anything they can to get through. Now, fortunately, some of those business clients had spouses that had salary positions, so it wasn't as dire as being dependent on one business for your well-being. But like the restaurants, they had to go to all online orders and takeout, and like I said, the hairstylists had to kind of lessen the number of people she could see on a daily or hourly basis. So it really has been survival mode for a lot of those businesses.
As you mentioned that you're a very positive person. So
Try to be.
Yeah. So what are the positivities that you see in pandemic?
Well, a lot of people have been reevaluating what's important to them. And a lot of people, now I'm not an analyst on this or anything, but anecdotally what I'm hearing is, I spent all this time with my kids or my spouse. I kind of like that. Or I kind of don't like that. But mostly it's I kind of like it. And, do I really want to, do what I had been doing so much?
Yeah, right? It really gave people more time to evaluating their current, lifestyle.
Right. And what's important to them, their priorities. When you're working so hard, and some of these Silicon Valley companies are very demanding as far as time, you just don't have a time to take a breath to really think or look around or notice.
And then time flies.
That's right. But this past year and a half or so, people have re-examined. Now, I think that's leading to another problem, is a lot of people don't want to go back to work, which is probably why we're having a labor shortage.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I hear that, from some of our business clients, I can't hire anybody. And It's because, the person that was working is now at home, and maybe it's a couple, and one of them is at home, has to be a caregiver for the children, and they've realized that that person doesn't have an income now during the pandemic. Hey, we don't really need that income. We rather have a family member be the actual family member and care for the children and not use childcare. And so that person doesn't go back to work. Now we're missing a person in the labor force. So that's kind of a minus on the business side. But I think from a personal standpoint, there are a lot of people, I'm seeing in my practice, a lot of people are saying, I said I wanted to retire at age 65. Can I do it now? Or can I do it in 5 years or 4 years, in my late 50s instead? a lot of those questions that have been coming up in the last 6 months. So I think that's a positive because people need to prioritize what's important to them and take a step back every once in a while. And now they've had that forced opportunity to do that.
Right. So from the business standpoint, what do you see your business in the next, let's just say, in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, like I said, we had to go right to video conferences with everybody, mostly on Zoom. And a lot of our clients say, this saves me a lot of time. I don't have to drive and meet you in the office. And, it's just as good. So I think that we're probably going to continue that for the foreseeable future. The next step is holograms, right? So we can shake hands virtually. So I think that's going to happen. We are going to continue, I think, acquiring new clients regardless of geographic area. If they hear about us, we have a chance at least.
Yeah,
before there's
expanding your business in different territories.
That's right. And I have a pocket of clients in New York because I grew up in New York, and whenever there was a referral beforehand, I would fly out there, see everybody that I knew, current clients, and then meet the prospective client, and don't have to do that anymore.
Right, you can just do via Zoom, right?
That's right. And clients prefer it. They just, log on and we're in a meeting.
Yeah.
Now for me, it's a lot more work actually, because I had to prepare everything in advance to show on the screen. Before I could just, if a certain topic came up, I could say, wait a second, I'm going to go get a visual for that. Or draw on the whiteboard something. Now I have to pre-prepare everything. But that's okay. Again, we do everything for the client, so if it's better for them, that's the way we're going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the next 3 to 5 years, you're probably expanding your business in different states.
That's right. Yeah, hope so.
So as a financial advisor, any advice for the small business owners who have been suffering financially, and any advice for them in the next 3 to 5 years, or in the next how do you say that era?
Well, I would say today, research all the assistance programs out there for small businesses. There are a lot, and that's from the city level, the county level, all the way up to the federal level. So research any. And they're real dollars that are not always gifted, but low interest loans. If they need it, you just need to keep afloat until you get back to kind of a more normal environment. So research all the financial assistance that's available out there, because a lot of it's still not fully applied for. And then I would say going forward, always have some backup plan, because as we know, the first plan doesn't always go as planned. So you always have to have a backup plan in case something wrong happens. And as the business gets more healthy, you may want to put some reserves just in case you need to, it may just be the business owner having a medical issue, right? And they can't work for a certain number of months. That shouldn't put a business out of business, right?
No.
If they have staff, they should be able to continue on. So having a little cash reserve is very important for small businesses. I know it's hard sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard.
But that would be a good thing.
So let's talk about Rotary.
Okay.
You're Rotarian veteran, and you have been a Rotarian for years, right? How many years have you been Rotarian?
Since about 2003.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how is that journey?
That I really like Rotary. I'm the president of our club right now. I'm honored to serve as president. The one thing about Rotary that I tell everybody, first of all, when somebody says, what is Rotary? I say, Rotary is Boy Scouts for adults. So we do service projects, we have camaraderie. We don't go camping, but we do a lot of service. So that's my one-liner for Rotary. The thing about Rotary that's remarkable is that if I give $1 to Rotary, I know that $1 goes to the need.
Mm.
And sometimes it's more than $1 because we get matching grants.
Right.
But like some other organizations, there's a lot of administrative costs to getting the dollar to the need. I won't name the organizations, but very few have 100%, right? But I know that if I give $1 to a Rotary project, that Rotarians going to deliver it, and if it's in Morocco, they're going to pay their own way to deliver the water project or whatever it is to that geographic area. Sort of like Doctors Without Borders, the doctors pay for their own transportation to those countries. But Rotary, $1 given is $1 used for the need. So, forgot your question. What was the question?
No, it's just your journey
Yeah.
in Rotary Club, and
Right.
you actually mentioned about it's the service,
Right.
and then the trust, the value.
That's
and,
right.
That's why I introduced you as a servant
That's
at
right.
the beginning,
Okay.
right? And
Yeah.
because I'm also a Rotarian,
Yep.
and we are a servant and to the world as a Rotarian.
Right. And I'm actually very excited about our new area of service, which is protecting the environment. So in our club, we're launching 2 projects. One is to have tree planting in our city. So we have already done part of that. We buy the trees, work with the city on where they want the trees planted, and Rotarians plant the trees.
In Foster City?
In Foster City, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then the second one is we're trying to develop a community garden. There are many cities surrounding that have community gardens where citizens can rent a plot of land, and it gets irrigated, and they can grow either flowers or edibles. And there's no community garden in Foster City.
Oh.
So if we can identify a site, I think we can do it. So I'm very excited for those 2 projects in particular.
Well, then you're going to be pioneer for that project.
That's right.
That sounds very exciting. And actually, my church is in Foster City. So
Oh, really?
yeah, so I go there weekly. Yeah, most of the time. And sometimes I do virtual services.
Right.
But I prefer going in person because the experience is very different.
Yeah,
And
sure.
actually, Foster City is one of my favorite cities. I'm like, if I could pick one city in the world and to just settle down, I think I would love to pick Foster City as one of them because it's really beautiful.
Yes.
It's a beautiful city. So in our community, and we have an audience in Foster City. So if they are, if they want to join, your club, and how can they reach out to you?
Well, our website is rotaryfostercity.org. So we do have online meeting. We're doing a hybrid meeting, so you can meet in person or online. So the Zoom link is on the website, or we meet at the Crown Plaza on Wednesdays for a lunch meeting at 12.
Every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday, unless, for example, next week we're going to have a social in the evening, so we're not going to meet for lunch. But yes, we meet every Wednesday.
So our guests are welcomed to those meetings.
Yes, and
do they have to register prior to the meeting?
They can just show up. Just tell them that Curtis sent you, and they'll pay for your lunch.
Oh wow, nice. It's never hurt to get some free lunch.
Yeah.
And from Rotary Club,
yeah.
Right? Well, thank you so much. And we're getting close to the end of the show. And any advice to the community? Because we're still kind of in the midst of uncertainties.
Right.
And any advice for us?
I think that a little kindness really helps. So, and like I said before, I'm a very positive person. So stay positive, take care of your family, reevaluate things that are important to you, and most of the time, that will guide you on what to do. Follow your passions, and just follow your heart. Actually,
but it can be risky sometimes.
It can. I mean, I started a business, when I had a nice paying tech job. But now, no regrets. I do miss engineering and software engineering, but no regrets.
Why is that? Because you made it, or because the journey that you have been going through has made who you are today?
That is, but I found my passion. So, if you find your passion, John Madden is kind of a hero of mine. He's a football coach with the Raiders, and he said, if you're doing what you love, you've never really worked a day in your life.
Right.
And that's what he did, and that's what I'm doing right now.
That's nugget. That's nugget. Okay. Any advice to people who are struggling in business at the moment?
I would say, again, if you're passionate about what you do, stay with it, and just tread water until you can start swimming again.
Yeah.
And if you're not passionate about it, get out. Right? If it's not worth it, then it's not worth it. But if you are passionate, just try to get by until things get better, because everything is cyclical. So, and the lows are never as low as you think. It just feels that way.
Right.
And it will turn. We just don't know when. We just don't know when. So you just have to
consider this time as an opportunity to grow your muscle in business and in life.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you so much, Curtis.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing so much value to our audience and so much value to the community. And get the word out of our Rotary Club as well.
Yes.
And so for those of you who are watching us tonight and commenting here, and thank you so much for joining us. And remember that this is a weekly show, so stay tuned. And we'll see you next week at the same time. Bye, everyone.